After the nation was stunned by these surreal images of Americans storming the Capitol building, the National Guard was called in from across the country to restore law and order. In truth, they should have been there before the riots. The Pentagon has confirmed that the Capitol Police twice declined offers of help from the Defense Department in the days before the deadly siege of January 6. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sunder resigned because of that, but he was only one of the people responsible for the law enforcement failures on that fateful day. And now there's been an overreaction in Washington, D.C. 25,000 National Guard troops have been brought in from all across the country, more in Washington than are stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan combined, as if somehow filling the streets with National Guard troops somehow makes up for the failures of not only the Capitol Police, but Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, House Sergeant of Arms Paul Irving, Senate Sergeant of Arms Michael Stenger. All were willfully and woefully underprepared because they didn't want the optics of a military force. Paul Irving and Michael Stenger have since resigned. But Mayor Bowser still insists she did nothing wrong, even though the optics were far worse than anyone could have imagined. There is a valuable lesson that is being missed in Washington, D.C., that security measures must be calibrated to actual threats. So after credible threats were ignored on January 6th, the Capitol and the National Mall was transformed into a militarized zone with military fencing, razor wire, and at one point, 26,000 troops. The same people who decried calling in the National Guard to cities across America during the summer riots to help outmanned and overwhelmed police departments are now calling in a small army to protect Washington, D.C. against, well, nothing. It seems that optics are important once again. The brave men and women of the National Guard are being used as props. The show of force is visual reinforcement of a narrative that Trump supporters have somehow now been transformed into domestic terrorists by the former president and could attack at any moment. The members of the National Guard left their homes, their jobs, their families, to dress in camouflage and form a perimeter around the Washington and stare at desolate streets and suffer through cold nights and cramped conditions. For what? To make a political point. Slowly, too slowly, members of the National Guard have been allowed to return to their homes. But it was announced that 5,000 will stay through March. Why? To justify the actions, the Biden administration released the strangest national terrorism bulletin in history. The Department of Homeland Security could not pinpoint a specific threat or plot and gave no evidence of a threat. They only stated that the events of January 6 emboldened extremists and set the stage for future attacks. The bulletin warned of a heightened threat environment that will last for weeks through the trial of Donald Trump in the Senate, I presume. Republican members of both the House and the Senate Intelligence Committees have requested evidence to back up the first terrorist threat to be issued in over a year, and they are complaining that they've received nothing. I guarantee you that during the Senate trial of Donald Trump, more than one Democratic senator will point outside and talk about the National Guard troops surrounding the Capitol as proof of what Donald Trump has wrought on this country, making them not only props, but talking points and evidence of a threat that doesn't exist. Look, if such a threat did materialize, it would be easy to get the National Guard in from Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, or elsewhere in a moment's notice. The National Guard has served in America's wars. They can be deployed in a moment's notice. The National Guard is always there to save lives and clean up after America's national disasters. They deserve better than to be forced to stand on desolate streets in Washington, D.C. on threats that are ambiguous with no credible evidence. They deserve better than to be political props. It's time to bring the troops home. I'm Larry Mendte. We'll talk again soon.